The Rise of the Duelist set introduces some game-changing Yu-Gi-Oh cards that will of course completely change the complexity of our card game. Cards like Forbidden Droplets, which allows you to negate monster effects and then prevent your opponent from negating your monster effects, makes a break my board strategy a lot easier to break. And 3 Tactical Talents allows you to gain advantage for your opponent activating monster effects on your turn. Playing cards on your turn when your opponent wants to play cards on your turn allows you to play your turn so much better. There are also some new strategies from the Rise of the Duelist set that come into meta contention. In this video, I'm going to be going over the top 5 decks post Rise of the Duelist. It is a scary good format, and the best decks of the format of last month just might not be the best deck of the format when this month is over. Now, I know this is a top 5 list, but let's face it, no one wants to hear anyone talk about the 2 best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because they've been dominating the Yu-Gi-Oh! Scene for quite some time. So in this particular video, I'm going to glaze over them, but the 5 decks I'm going to talk to you guys about are decks that can compete on an even level with these type of decks. The Rise of the Duelist set introduces not only some new concepts, but it also makes some old decks really good by splashing some of these engines inside of them. The ELDLICH strategy is a control type deck that basically outgrinds your opponent for every resource. Just when you thought that the strategy had no more resources, your Golden Land and Elixir Spell and Trap cards can banish themselves from the graveyard to set cards to your side of the field. And as long as you can keep ELDLICH the Golden Lord to your side of the field, cards like Conquistador can not only summon itself as a monster, but destroy face-up cards, and Wakiro can disrupt your opponent's graveyard and summon itself to the side of the field. The reason why this deck is so powerful is because it's a really good deck, but it's also splashable with other engines. The Numeron engine, the Synchro engine are 2 strategies that come in mind. I do think that players will start to play the pure version of ELDLICH because pure ELDLICH dodges 3 Tactical Talents and Forbidden Droplets fairly well. Adamantipator is the next best deck running up, but if you ask me, the Adamantipator strategy is losing its grip on that 2nd place threshold. It is one of the better combo-based decks inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! But with Rise of the Duelist, I think there's actually another better combo-based deck that can contend with this strategy. The Adamantipator strategy is built on excavating rock monsters. Get it? Excavating rock monsters? You're like a researcher or something, because that's what the main card is named. Oh my fucking god. This Synchro combo-based deck is built on summoning multiple disruptions on the field and can play fairly decent through hand traps. Don't sleep on Adamantipator. It might be losing that number 2 spot, but it's still a top contender. Now that those 2 decks are out of the way, we can start talking about some strategies that are amazing. I'm telling you, the Rise of the Duelist set has made these decks complete monsters in the meta. I feel that in a couple of weeks, players are going to realize that Infernal Knight is one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, this Fire Warrior deck is nothing like its Noble Knight predecessor. It's actually a good deck. The Infernal Knight strategy does stay true to its predecessor. It is a equipped spell deck, but this time in the form of Fire Warrior monsters. The cool thing about this strategy is while with the Noble Knight strategy, you are reliant on equipped spells, your Infernal Knight monsters can equip themselves from the graveyard to one of your Fire Warrior monsters. And seeing that there is a surge of great Fire Warrior monsters, this strategy plays really well with other Fire Warrior monsters that aren't with the archetype, such as Rose Warrior of Revenge. You won't believe how long I've been wanting this card to be good. Unfortunately, it's not good, but I've been wanting it, okay? The real card that works well with the Infernoble strategy is Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. This card can be summoned to your side of the field before your 5th summon, meaning that it's going to be really hard to Nibiru this strategy or even hand trap it because it can get it out even before an ESOL. Now the strategy's true power comes from Infernal Knight Charles. When a card is equipped to him, he allows you to destroy a card on the field, non-targeting and for free. Typically, you can only equip cards on your turn, but due to Infernal Knight Captain Roland, it's a quick effect in the graveyard to equip to Charles. So you get free disruptions. The Infernal strategy did not forget about the other equipped spell cards. There's actually a real cool combo with Smoke Grenade and the Thief, At the end of your combo sequence, you can equip it to Infernoble Knight Charles, which will trigger its effect to destroy a card. You destroy Smoke Grenade of the Thief, and now you get to snipe a card out of your opponent's hand. So no more triple tactical talents or forbidden droplets for me. Not only does the Infernoble strategy play well through hand traps, it can also snipe those going second cards that would give the opponent an advantage. The Infernoble strategy is nothing to mess with. I would probably say it's one of the best fire decks of all time. And that like goes for a lot, because there's Fire Fist, there's Salamangreat, there's Fire Fist, and there's Salamangreat. Salamangreat's really great. Now, I did say that Infernoble Knight were one of the best fire decks of all time, but I'm not here to discredit my Salamangreat boys. It's starting to feel more and more like the Salamangreat strategy as its Disciples deck, but regardless, it still does some really cool things. If you link summon Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf using a Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, you can gain some really cool effects. Cards like Salamangreat Rage are really good against control decks. Salamangreat Rage allows you to destroy multiple cards on your opponent's side of the field. And Salamangreat War is great against combo decks. It can stop your opponent's pivotal choke point. And the cool thing about both of these trap cards is because since the Salamangreat strategy is a self-contained engine, well, they can just set them back to the side of the field with ease. Now, one of the best things about Salamangreat is that it is a great grind deck, but it can also OTK the opponent. It has access to ACCESSCODE Talker. It's accessible to get to an ACCESSCODE Talker, which accesses you into an OTK. Cool, right? Summoning one of the best Link monsters in the game at 5,300 attack, and it can attack twice. And it can destroy up to 3 cards on the field. This is pretty busted. Salamangreat is no slouch, and the reason why it's so good in this meta is because cards like Forbidden Droplets negate monster effects, where Salamangreat just wants to use that back row to be able to dominate the opponent. Now, the strategy that has managed to stay relevant throughout this entire time is Dino. Dino is one of the most ferocious decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! History because it has a claw on the meta, a bite on the meta, a chomp on the meta. It's T-Rexing the meta. I like that one. T-Rexing the meta. Let's go with that one. Dinosaur is easily one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of its versatility. You can play a True King version of Dinosaur, which allows you to pop up with some insane combos and make True King of all calamities. But if that isn't enough for you, you can always go for a Synchro route, which not only gives you True King of all calamities, but a BORRELOAD Savage Dragon and a Herald of Arclight. But if not playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Is what you're aiming for to do for your opponent, then there is a Barrier Statue version, which summons Barrier of the Stormwinds, which prevents your opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Seeing that wind monsters aren't really a thing. The crazy thing is that I have not included dinos on this list for any of those versions, though all of them plus the Lost World version are fairly strong. Now, if you are a budget player, I strongly advise you put your hand on the screen because you're not going to want to see this carnage. It is expensive. Dogmatica Dino is a perfect fit. The Dino strategy does not need its extra deck, so being able to special summon Dogmatica cards or use your extra deck to be able to special summon Dogmatica cards is free. It also happens to help that your Dogmatica cards are not Dinosaur Monster, so it's perfect food for cards like Double Evolution Pill, banishing your Dogmatica cards, and a Dinosaur card to special summon one of the best boss monsters in the game. Now, if you are a budget player, you can take your hand off the screen. I'm gonna say some budget-friendly things. Regardless, Ultimate Conductor TYRANNO can flip all of your opponent's monsters face down. That is an excellent source of disruption, and it can attack every single one of your opponent's monsters. I've seen this card single-handedly win games. I mean, I've been a part of duels where this card single-handedly won me games, so why can't it do it for you? Another strategy, while obviously vulnerable to Forbidden Droplets and triple tactical talent, is the Rocket strategy. Now, the Rocket strategy does put you on notice, as in you better have that card, because this deck can set up with multiple negations. I mean, imagine hand-trapping the living daylights out of a Rocket strategy, only for them to wind up with a Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, Apollosa the Bow Goddess. People have corrected me multiple times. It's like Apollosa Goddess of the Bow or something, but I mean, come on now. If we really acknowledge that it was a bow instead of the cool girl on the Super Hunted Bear card, would we really be Yu-Gi-Oh! Players? And a BORRELOAD Savage Dragon. So yeah, you better hope that you have that Forbidden Droplets and that 3 tactical talent. Not only that, those are great going second cards, but what if I just FTK you? That's something that the Dragon strategy does have up its arsenal. It can drain all of those life points you thought were precious to you. It doesn't matter how many hand traps are prevalent in the format, Team Rocket is blasting off again as one of the top contending decks. And it's a strategy that's been looking for a peek at you for the longest. Yeah, only Pokemon fans get that one. The last strategy is a strategy that is heavily impacted by the rise of the Duelist set. But before I tell you about it, I know you're gonna say that there's a strategy that should be in the top 4. I want you to post down below in the comment section which one of these strategies that I missed. Is it a strategy like Guru Control, which is amazing in the grind game against decks like ELDLICH and Adamantipator? Or is it one of those subtle decks that probably should have made the top 5 list and can possibly make the underrated list? Regardless, whatever you put, I know you want to see an underrated list, so like this video and share with a friend, and that one could be well on its way. The last strategy has had a huge impact in the OCG, and it's a strategy that is demanding its attention inside of the TCG. Dogmatica Invoked is a dog, it's a beast. Get it? Because summoning beast and Dogmatic. The Dogmatica Invoke strategy feeds off one another. While the Dogmatica strategy does send cards from your opponent's extra deck to the graveyard, which is some really good spice for your invoked cards to banish, the Invoke strategy provides a steady source of monster play, getting Invoked Mechaba to be able to disrupt your opponent's card effects, and seeing that this deck does stay under the summoning limit, cards like Summon Limit can prevent your opponent from outpacing you. Dogmaticas are definitely going to be a wave. You can say that this spot can be reserved for other Dogmatica strategies like Necros and Shut All, but I think Invoke is one of the strongest because you can play cards like Triple Tactical Talent and also Forbidden Droplets inside of your deck because you have so much room. Well, that's all that I have for the best strategies in Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, I want you to post down below in the comment section what are some strategies that were snubbed from this list. Also, be sure to help me make an underrated list as I'm really excited to be able to give that video to you in the future. You can also, while we're here, check out these videos because they're awesome. But regardless, I'll catch you on the next video.